You know, I have lived three lives, but to me, these are just schizophrenic illusions. Although there are some people who actually believe that we have lived multiple lives or are going to live multiple lives. This is my experience. So, my first life, and I can actually see these lives vividly in my mind and how they occurred. So, in my first life, I was a comedian, the greatest comedian who has ever lived. I started small. This was back in those thousands of years ago, and I built my reputation, but I didn't start as the greatest. Everything came to me out of pure luck. I was trying every kind of comedy and none was working. No one was laughing at my jokes, and I sat down day and night, burning the midnight oil to make sure I could land one perfect joke. I think that's a dream for a lot of comedians. One signature joke that can identify you as a person, something nobody can copy, that is a signature or a rubber stamp of you. I abandoned my family and went to stay deep into the mountains, like the monks do, eating from the forest, living in the forest. I was living in a pretty warm climate, so I could sleep outside without any problem. And I researched. I stayed in solitude for years with wild and domestic animals alike. I was determined. I was going to make it. Then one day, out of nowhere, an idea just popped into my mind. I grinned, then I smiled, then I laughed. And at that moment, I knew I got it. I did. I got it. So I joined civilization once again. So everyone was wondering where I had been. It was in those ages where when you just disappear, you disappear, no one knows where you went to. And my family celebrated. The neighbors were surprised. I think they thought I was dead after being absent for so long. But I wasn't feeling anything at that time. I had a serious phase on. Looked like I was going through a lot of problems, but I had just discovered something. Then, once every month, the entire community I was living in used to host a comedy talent show. And various comedians would come up with their jokes and, entertain the community. That's how people used to get entertained. So I signed up for it. And, anyone who signed up was not denied. Not everyone will try go tell jokes. It can be embarrassing. And I was worried. But I had my idea in mind. I didn't know whether it would be successful, but I was sure it's the best idea I had ever had. So I watched comedians get on stage. And because I was a newbie in these, they start with the newbies first, and then the most, uh, the ones who are best at the comedy game do it last. So I was the first one because I had signed up for the first time, and I got into the stage, and I looked at the crowd. It's like, should I, or should I find some safer jokes that I know are going to elicit a laugh? This is a joke I've never told, so I really don't know what the audience reaction is going to be like. But I took heart, put some bravery in my mind. I was like, let's go, Derek. I wasn't called Derek then, but yeah, I said, let's go. So I started telling the joke, but no one was laughing. Everybody was dead silent. I told the joke for 5 whole minutes. It was some deafening silence. They were not celebrating, they were not booing, just looking at me like I was some freak of nature from another planet. Man, I was shocked. But I continued on. I told my joke. Took about 5, 7 minutes. I don't remember exactly the amount of time. Then I kept quiet and looked away. Then the crowd burst into roaring laughter I had never heard before. I think they just connected the dots. It was a long story. It took some time, but they laughed so hard, and someone died. Yeah, they died of laughter. They laughed that hard, and then another one died, and I watched them die one by one by one until all of them were dead of laughter. I looked at the entire crowd of dead people. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to say. My entire audience was dead. So I walked out, didn't tell anyone. Anyone who knew what I did was dead. I went home. I didn't know whether to be sad or happy. My joke kind of worked, but at what price? I did several shows and people kept dying left and right after the joke. Same joke. It looked like a demonic kind of joke. And I felt sad. I know this is what I've been looking for. I was looking to have people laugh at my jokes, but man, people just kept dying and I couldn't stop. You get that feeling when you kill a room full of people. I don't know whether you have ever had that feeling, but I got the feeling and it was addictive. But I was sad because I couldn't make myself laugh. No one else could make me laugh. Their jokes weren't just as good as my one deadly joke. The story continues, but let's stop there for my first life because I have two more lives to tell you. So, my second life, I think it was 1,000 years later, I was reborn and I was a boring kid. I bored the hell out of everyone in this world. When I reached my teenage years and I decided to explore the world, and by exploring the world, I meant walking to nearby villages. I hadn't done that my entire life. I didn't want to be boring anymore. I was tired of it. I was completely exhausted. I wanted a new life. And that's what I decided to chase, that new life. And something came up to me out of nowhere, like a spirit or a demon possessed me. And my entire body started vibrating. I started dancing back and forth. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I had never seen such dance moves in my entire life. Finally, I had something. I liked seeing people dance during events. There were dancing events where people would compete on dances. It's like I got it, but soon the vibration of my body stopped. It seemed like I had reached a flow state. I was dancing without moving. Ever heard of that? I hadn't heard of it before. Never seen it before, but as I looked at myself, I could see I was still, but When I feel my body was dancing. When I was walking, I was dancing. When I was sleeping, I was dancing. When I was seated down, I was dancing. And while people couldn't see it through their eyes, they could feel it in their bones, and I knew it. Now I wasn't gonna be boring anymore. So I went into a party, a dancing kind of event, and this was not my first time, but things felt different this time round. No one could see me for some reason. No one could hear me, but I could see and hear everyone. And while everyone was dancing when I came in, the mood just changed once I stepped inside the room. Suddenly, everyone lost their marbles. I may not use such terms. Everyone went crazy. It seems like they stopped paying attention to the dance floor. They stopped paying attention to each other. It's like that feeling of, I guess, shame or self awareness had been lifted away from them. And I could tell it was my presence that caused all that. People started dancing crazily. All their craziest dance moves were on the floor. They didn't have a single care who was watching. They could see each other, and it was like a competition. You think you can dance better than me. They were not saying it, but they would look at each other and improve their dance skills, try new different tactics. It was the pandemonium in on the dance floor reigned supreme. Everyone was dancing dance moves they had never known or seen before. And I was just standing, as I told you, I could dance without moving at all. So I was standing still. My eyes weren't blinking, they were looking at the dance floor. And my mind just said, these people have gone mad. This is totally crazy. This is the most fun I had ever seen anyone have in their entire life. No one was paying attention to me for some reason. No one could see me, even though I had the best dance moves of that time. So I wasn't as happy as I thought I would by gaining these dance skills. But I became the master of the party. That's more than I had bargained for. Greatest gift I ever received in this world. Every time I entered a boring room, it became full of life for everyone that was in there. But no one knew me. No one saw me. No one heard me. And tales were told for years and years, decades and decades, and centuries about the most weird parties in this world. It was said that once you got into that room, suddenly something happened and you just became very good at dancing. Everyone was trying to solve the puzzle, saying, it's the devil. Others, it's God. Others just came up with some serious theories, but no one knew me. So I'm coming back to tell you right now. If you've heard the stories, I was the one. I was the cause of everything. I was the mastermind behind the greatest dance floor that has ever been built. And now here I am living my third life. I don't think I'll tell you what my third life is, but because I don't have enough time, not because I don't want to tell you. But it's pretty great. You'll hear about it in your next life. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being with me.